Boo. Southern Topical back with another video, and for Halloween we are doing top 5 horror movies of all time. He's Nathan, I'm Strange Wayne. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so first of all, normally we give a code away on our top 5s, but we still have 3 that we haven't given away yet, so somewhere in the top 5s on our channel below within the last 3 of them, we still have some codes that you can go there and win, so go watch those videos and win free movies. If you don't know how we tell our top 5s, basically one of us will start and they'll do 5 and 4 and we'll talk about it, and then the other person will do their 5 and 4, and then we'll do 3 and 2, 3 and 2, and then we'll trade off number 1s. We also have what we call the Zemeckis rule, which is basically if one of us has the same movie on their list as the other person, but they have it 2 spots or higher on their list, they'll say Zemeckis rule, and it just means that we'll just talk about it when it gets to it on their list. So we don't talk about the same movie twice.
We may not have all the classics on there. This is our top 5 personal favorite horror movies. We are not huge horror movie fans. I like the idea of the genre because you can provoke laughter, crying, sad. You can promote every emotion that other films do, and fear. Not every film can do fear.
That's true.
So you get some really, really phenomenal horror movies, and then you get a lot of shitty ones.
That's true.
But I want to tell you about my 5 favorite ones, and I put these in categories. So my number 5 is going to be my favorite monster movie of all time, and it's going to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So like these Universal monster movies, you can get a lot of depth, and with these monsters, like you have Frankenstein, and there's a lot of underlying principles in that. Same thing with this. It deals with addiction and wanting to do stuff that you can't do anymore because of your profession and stuff like that. And he's the monster. He turns into a monster, and it's really good, and I enjoy all the online things. Back then it was probably really scary. The effects look good, being in the 30s, and it has a really good message, and I am captivated by it still today. My number 4 is going to be my favorite slasher movie. I love /hate slasher movies because they're scary and have a lot of jump scares, and they're usually bad. Mine's the first one. It's always really good. The rest are really bad. This is not the first one. This is the 3rd one, and this is Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors. This is the one where Freddy goes full Arnold Schwarzenegger with all the one-liners. He has his hands turned like needles and kills someone who's addicted to drugs, like pumping heroin and they're dead. One chick, she wants to be famous on TV, so he becomes a TV. Welcome to primetime, bitch, and puts her head through the TV. There's so many good one-liners, and this one's different from the other ones because the kids are actually kind of smart. They're like, hey, this is our dreams. We can do whatever we want to, so we can fight back. And it makes the stakes feel a little bit more higher than usual horror movies.
Fair.
And a young Lawrence Fishburne in this movie.
Yeah.
Well.
Fair. So, much like he prefaced his list with how he did things, you can hate on this if you want, but like, I don't really like horror movies that much. But it's Halloween and we're on YouTube, so we're making a horror movie list.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear your shit about how there's movies on my list that aren't horror movies. And if you don't like horror movies, why are you making a horror movie list? It's fucking Halloween. Get over it.
I'm gonna give you a little shit. We call that a Stephanie.
Wow. So my number 5.
That's Stephanie.
Yeah. So number 5 is Zombieland. And it is a horror movie because there's monsters in it. And it's funny. And I'm not even going to talk about it because I see his face already, and it's a really fucking funny movie. Number 4 is what you thought should have been the best movie of last year, which is Get Out.
Yeah. That was my favorite movie of last year. No, so, the year before that.
So that's a horror movie?
That's more of a thriller, but it's in that weird subgenre.
Do you think Shaun of the Dead is a horror movie?
It's a horror comedy, which is its own.
Which is what genre? No, that's not. That's a subgenre of horror and comedy.
Yeah, but I was going strictly for scary movies.
Well, that's what you did for your list. Good for you.
Well, this video is literally us arguing.
Get Out is amazing. That movie's fucking awesome.
This is great.
And so like,
this is more of a horror movie than your number 5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said in the beginning. Anyways, talk about what that movie had to say about racism in America so much that a lot of, which is good and important, and like we need to talk about that. but like that part gets talked about so much that we don't always talk about all like the great little details and stuff that are in there.
Yeah.
Like the foreshadowing and stuff that's in that movie is insane.
On
like,
the fence.
Yeah. So number 4, Get Out. What's your number 3?
Number 3 is probably my second favorite movie of the year, like theatrically released film of the year, and that is Hereditary.
That's your number 3?
Yes.
That's my number 3.
This is my favorite ghost possession story. Possession story, not a ghost story.
Yeah.
Possession story. Mm-hmm. And I walked out of this thing, and I was creeped out. We all went to go see it together, and I was creeped out the entire time afterwards. I totally bought into everything they were selling. Mm-hmm. And like I said in the beginning, this horror movie, it made me laugh. It made me understand the pain of death. It made me understand being in a relationship, like being married after that, and deeper, like the husband's relationship with the son, like all of her different relationships, the relationship with her mom. It took me through so many different feelings, mm-hmm. and then on top of that, it added fear, which only a horror movie can do.
Right.
So to me, that struck home. It was the nail in the coffin puns.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think after we saw that movie, we probably spent like at least an hour and a half to 2 hours talking about it afterwards.
Or just like horror movies in general.
Yeah, like we dissected.
We never do.
Yeah, like so clearly that was probably the first horror movie that we have both like connected with, that we have like seen together in a minute. And we just saw Halloween last night, and like clearly not nearly as like deep of a film as Hereditary was, right. But like all the foreshadowing in that movie, all the symbolism in that movie. Like the one scene that sticks out to me the most is that one dinner table scene where like the mom and the son finally like really get into it with each other, and like,
dude, that's pulled right out of fucking drama, dude. Like,
right. And we've said this multiple times. Like, I mean, yeah, that's 100% a horror movie, but it's almost like in terms of scariness, it's not a scary movie. It's a really good movie that is also scary.
Yeah, definitely. My favorite is not a horror. Isn't a scary part of the movie either. Mm-hmm. It's in the very beginning where the dad's like, that doesn't have nuts in it, does it? And the daughter's like, no. And then the mom steps over to the dad because he's a dad. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, that can't doesn't have nuts in it, does it? And she's a little bit more concerned.
Yeah.
And then how that plays out later on in the film, it was like, holy crap, because that was good dialogue. Yeah. Because that's how relationships are.
Oh, yeah.
Married relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes back to this. Holy cow.
Yeah, the relationships in that movie are portrayed very well. The dialogue in it is excellent, and like the story is scary as fuck. So, good stuff.
So my number 2 is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, a film we also want to go see in theaters. I've seen it before. I don't know about him.
Yeah, that's my number 1 actually.
Word. Well, I'll be quick on it. How you feel so unsettled during the entire runtime of this movie is why it's my number 2. Like the whole time I feel unsettled. This, however, I like it more than Hereditary because it's obviously number 2, not number 3. Mm-hmm. And it didn't need those moments of humanity. To me, it works perfectly the way it is. It's unsettling. How he does stuff is also super unsettling, like a TV without being plugged in, but they're watching it,
mm-hmm.
and like the slow ghost haunting story.
Yeah.
And then
it's almost like in the background of everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it's just so trippy, especially when you get to the end and see the picture. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. What do I want to talk about with you? So, yeah. So a pattern that I've noticed with mine, and like when I do we talk about number 3, but even when we talk about number 2, if it's the same pattern, is like the top 4 on my list are all just movies that were really, really good movies that just happen to be scary.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, first of all, it's Kubrick, so like the shots in that movie alone are freaking amazing. But the way that he uses them to add to that unsettling nature, like the way it's not just that everything's symmetrical, but it's like the angle of it gives you that weird like vertigo-ish feeling when he wants you to feel it. Like the whole weird like Native American stuff, you can find tons of YouTube videos like dissecting all the.
Well, there's a documentary about it.
Yeah, it's true.
237.
But yeah, like he's just like terrifying.
Yeah.
Like no one else could play that. Like I don't think anyone else could play that character the way that he did.
Definitely.
It's just like the way that the way the switch flips.
Yeah.
And like there's definitely build up to it, but there's also that point, you know, where it's just like, all right, now he's like, he's fucking crazy.
And I also love how they doesn't portray like the normal American family. They're like, I would say he's under 10-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, what's cannibalism?
Yeah.
And they tell him what cannibalism is.
Right. They're weird.
That's
like
real.
they're weird people already.
Yeah. That's
like
real.
they're birds for sure.
Astronauts.
And then like space cadets even.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, and then like the horror. I like all the horror elements to that movie because like they're not really jump scares. Or anything like that. The only thing that's even close to a jump scare is like the flash of the murdered girls in the hallway.
Yeah.
Because you don't really like see that coming to me.
Or I would say it's not really a jump scare because it's actually Jack Torrance, but when he jumps out and kills Scatman Crothers,
yeah,
that scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah, that does get it.
But speaking of Scatman Crothers, his room, I want a room just like his.
Oh yeah.
What a great set design.
Yeah, it was good.
And during the whole movie, like throughout the whole movie too.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I love about the movie the most that is actually scary is they could have made sequels to this. Why is that a woman in there? Why is that dog giving man fellatio?
Oh, there's so many.
Why is there blood coming out of the elevator?
What's up with the bartender, you know?
Yeah. Like, so much I want to know about it.
Yeah.
And for a horror movie to make me want to know more about it.
Yeah. And, well, you know they are making a sequel.
Yeah, but I don't tie that to Kubrick's at all.
Yeah, I'm like...
Staying along.
You know, I'm a little wary of it as well.
Yeah.
But excited to see it. So that was your number 2, right?
Yeah. I took over your number 1. I apologize.
You're fine. It's been happening a lot lately. That's fine. So my number 3 was Hereditary. And my number 2 was It Follows.
Oh, man. You saw that?
I did.
I told you would like it.
Yeah,
but
I loved
totally
it.
forgot. Because, like, we talked about the Babadook and the Witch.
Right.
And I was like, oh, those definitely make his list.
I just haven't seen them. And, like, I probably would like them. I didn't. I just didn't have time. I wanted to.
Like, if it was, like, all, like, top 10, that would have made my list.
Yeah.
So, I try to mix it up.
So, out of all those, like, I don't know if you want to call them indie horrors or, like, whatever you want to call them. Like, I did get to watch It Follows today, actually. And it was really good.
Yeah.
Like,
That's great.
like, the idea is so, unique and original. I mean, it's, like, literally like a STD curse.
Yeah.
But, like, not in, like... You could have taken, like, the really, like, campy, like, teen movie route with that, but they didn't. It was very serious. And there's no, like... It is also just really, really unsettling. Like, honestly, the only reason that this didn't jump The Shining was just because of how classic The Shining is for me.
And you just seen it today.
And I just saw it today, so it hasn't completely soaked in today. But, like...
But I will say, like, the STD point is huge, and racism with Get Out is huge.
Right.
Only sci-fi films and horror movies can do this without it being cheesy.
Right. I
feel
agree.
like.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it plays to this to best.
Yeah. But I love the fact that they keep it so realistic. Like, there's not... there's, like, a few times where, like, the thing following you, like, really feels paranormal. So, like, when they're on the beach the first time they figure out that they can hit it and it, like, boots Homeboy. Like, you know, that is, like...
That's an unsettling scene because you see the hair go up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it's like you can... I don't know if you noticed it, but, like, you can see it in the background real early on in that...
I've only seen it in a handful of...
I gotcha. So, yeah, in that scene, like, you can see it walking through the woods, like, pretty early on. So, like, you know it's there.
Yeah.
But, like, in that point, it's taken the form of one of her friends, and then it cuts to that friend on a float in the ocean. So then it's like, nah, motherfucker. Yeah. So, yeah, that scene, and then, like, at the very end, when it's, like, chunking shit at her in the pool and stuff. Those are really only the times where, like, anything is, like, levitating without us seeing something there. And every other time, it's just this creepy thing that's, like, slowly walking.
You don't know when it's
so
coming.
It doesn't suck you out of the real world by doing that. So it's, like, really easy to put yourself in that place and be like, okay, like, what the fuck, like, if this was me, what the fuck would I do, you know? Yeah. So it's just, like, it's also fun because you're just like, oh my god, why don't y'all just do this? Like,
so I try to go out of my way to, like, see all the classics, and a lot of horror movies
yeah,
are in the 80s and feel classics, I mean. this has that 80s vibe with it. I don't know if you felt that way, because I don't know if you've seen a lot of horror movies, but it had that 80s vibe of filmmaking.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Oh, yeah, there were definitely some shots where I was like, this feels like old school film.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like choppy, but they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And you could tell.
So those people really had love for the genre, and I respected that.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that movie. It was very good. And like just like you were saying, I love horror movies or sci-fi movies that have like this underlying we're really touching on a real world topic. Because I mean, you can find tons of theories about like what it is and It Follows, from like the obvious one to like HIV and AIDS to like I've seen some that are like it's a metaphor for like depression in some ways, and like it gets really deep.
Did a lot of research on this today.
I did. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on
Word.
that. So
well, my number one, there's a lot of YouTube videos on it as well, and it is the Steven Spielberg classic Jaws.
Oh, sure, yeah.
This, like I said in the beginning, horror movies can make you feel all sorts of emotions, including fear, and this film does it better than any of them. I don't like being scared, and this film still scares the fuck out of me every time I see it. I see it a lot. I saw it in theaters, scared the fuck out of me in theaters. I watched this movie.
Not when it came out.
Well, yeah.
Well, before some idiot is like, oh, you didn't see Jaws in theaters.
Well, yeah, re-release. But, yeah. Lost train of thought.
You've seen it in theater. You watch it a lot,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
I see it a lot. I watch it a couple times a year, and it still scares the fuck out of me. The head coming out, you don't see the shark. And without this, we don't have movies like Alien that borrowed it. You don't see the monster unless you see bits and pieces of it. This is such a masterfully done movie, and not even on purpose. You know, like
yeah, totally.
the shark didn't work, so we have this movie.
Right.
And it's great how he uses the shark as a mysterious, but besides the fear in the movie, the characters are amazing. The relationship he has with his kids, and you're able to see joy. I don't care when him and his son are making faces at each other at the dinner table. If you don't smile at that, you don't have a heart.
I like that scene.
If you don't have fun with them on the boat before Jaws attacks, and they're showing off scars, you're
just a lost
loser.
cause of
Yeah.
humanity.
Yeah, I mean, but then it also has underlying tones of what a man is, because he's a cop, so he's supposed to be manly, and the fisherman. So Roy Scheider, he's the cop. Robert Shaw's the fisherman, and Richard Dreyfuss is the scientist. So Shaw just assumes the scientist isn't manly at all. And like he's putting him through all these tests, and Richard Dreyfuss is like, I have to show him that I'm manly. I need his approval because he thinks of me as a peon, when really
Peon.
peon. When really the sheriff is just like, I'm good. Like, I made this whiskey, try it. And then the sheriff's like, the next thing I've seen, pours it out. But Dreyfuss still drinks it because he wants to prove something to him. Like, that background story is great. It's not forced. And everything about this movie is amazing. The fear, the relationships, how it makes you feel happy, sad, everything.
For sure. How cool is it, even though I don't really like horror movies, how cool is it that the first blockbuster ever was a horror movie?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's in the summertime, which is not stereotypical.
Yeah.
And in water, which isn't was also not stereotypical for a horror movie.
Right.
And so scary that people won't go swimming to this day because they saw it in the 80s.
It's true.
Or 70s.
Yeah.
70s.
My mom won't get in water that she can't see through.
Because of Jaws.
Because she saw Jaws when she was little.
Exactly. Best horror movie of all time. You say it's not a horror movie? Bad words are going in my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll say it anyways. Go fuck yourself.
Don't tell Dylan that Jaws isn't a horror movie. And that's our top 5 favorite horror movies for this year's Halloween season.
Yeah.
If you like the video, or even if you don't, comment on it and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next time.